Happy Self-Love Sunday. I am Moe Sass, your host of Self-Love Sundays with Sass. I am your certified vision and empowerment and extreme execution coach who comes every single Sunday so we can talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. Oh, happy Sunday. I can't even believe it's already June, y'all. And yet here we are. I would just want to say thank you very much for the support and love for my book, Finding Your Way, 7 Ways to Love and Heal Yourself. I will always put the link in the bottom of the video for you to either purchase this book for yourself or a loved one. Also, it's on Amazon as well. This healing journey is so important because last week we talked about it, right? I, gave my, opinion on the interview with Danae Jackson that she did with the My Dear Future Wifey podcast and Derek Jackson. And then this week I said we're going to talk about, 5 steps to take, to begin your healing journey. But before I get into what you need to begin your healing journey, I'm going to tell you the number one thing you should not do. Yes, we're jumping right into it today. The number one thing you cannot do to yourself is criticize and beat yourself up for what you didn't know. And what do I mean by that? Because people have been like, well, she knew she was a willing participant. When you are unhealed and unhinged, there are certain things that you don't know and or see about yourself. When you are in the middle of the picture frame, you can't see it from the outside looking in. And the reason why most people can come on people's videos and they can, drag them for filth and talk about them is because they're outside of the picture frame. But when they were inside of theirs, guess what? They didn't see it either. It is what it is. Those very same people who comment and say everything like, bye. Because the truth is we all go through things. And when we're going through it, we don't know any better. And when you don't know any better, you don't do any better. But here's where it comes. Here's where it changes, right? Once you know better, you do better. So we don't beat ourselves up through this process. We give ourselves grace through the healing process. And the most important thing is the best apology to ourselves is change behaviors. We always look for other people to, apologize to us. But listen, you need to apologize to yourself and forgive yourself for the things that you've allowed to happen in your life. And the best apology is change behavior. So we're going to start to work on changing some of those behaviors. So let's get into it. The 5 steps to a healing journey. Number 1, self-awareness and acceptance. You have to become aware of, number 1, the part you played in it. What were the feelings and emotions? Really accepting what has happened. Because sometimes we can live in denial, y'all. I have, okay? But you have to accept like where you are right now. Where am I right now in this process? And it's okay to say, how did I allow this to happen? But I want you to write down what you allowed to happen and be honest about it, right? Be really like, what are my thoughts in this moment? I want you to really write all of that out because the first thing you have to do is become aware of you. The healing journey is about learning yourself. And let me tell you what, self-love is looking yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself enough to be honest with my BS, to be honest with what I put up with, to be honest about my traits, to be honest about the things that I've allowed in my life. It's not all cutesy, oh, I love myself. It's not dismissive. Self-love is not dismissive. It's not rude. It's not cocky. It's none of those things. Self-love is an inner reflection of ourselves, right? To say, you know what? I love myself enough to really face the mirror of my dark, deep stuff. Because once you do that, you don't have to be rude no more. I don't have to be rude. I don't have to throw up my fist. I don't have to fight. I don't have to scream. I don't have to yell. I don't have to do none of those things anymore. When you truly walk in a healing light, your whole world changes. All that stuff you had to do before, you don't have to do any of it. It shines through, okay? So the very first thing is self-awareness and acceptance, okay? Number 2, which was critical for me, It's one thing to be like self-aware. It's another thing to accept where I am. It's another thing to accept what I have done, because hurt people hurt people. And although you don't think it, because we want to pretend that we're such nice people all the time, we would never hurt anybody. Promise you it's not true. Hurt people, right? So once we've come to that, the second thing is really should be the first, but the thing is we can't get to it until we do number one. Number two is seeking help. When you're going through a healing journey, you can't go through it alone. You need an supportive environment, which means you can't heal in the place that you're hurting, right? So what does that mean? If I'm in a relationship with someone and I'm hurting really badly and I need healing, 9 times out of 10, you can't heal with that person. They're a part of it. So you need someone on the outside of it. And I'm talking professionally, professional therapist, professional coach, to see. They have all sorts of healing modalities, getting outside yourself, right? Seeking a supportive community. Is there a community that's going through like they have a codependency anonymous? I'm telling you, so many people are codependent. Last week when I talked about, this, I need this person, I need to stay tied to this person. Listen, codependency is real in these streets. Okay. And so for those of you who don't know what that is, take the time to go research that, codependency. But therapists, there are counselors, support groups. You have to seek help. You cannot do this alone. I need you to hear me. You cannot and you should not. That's the most important thing. You should not. We're not put on this earth to do these things alone. We're just not. Get around supportive people. People who will listen. You don't want anybody to be coddling you during this time. But it's like, this is a season when you're walking through a healing journey. This is a season of correction, not confirmation. Because that's what happens also in a breakup too. You look for confirmation for somebody to be like, yeah, he was this and he was that and he was this and he was that. Okay, but what about you? I had to ask myself this question, y'all. And it's like, okay, I came out. He didn't do this and he didn't do that and he didn't do this and he didn't do that. And I had to be like, yo, what about you? What did you do? You talk about how mean you were. You talk about how much you cussed somebody out. How'd you talk about how you ready to set it off at any moment, right? Like, why were you like that? Why did you always feel you had to fight for love? I had to ask myself these questions. And so as I started to write down, because again, it's the self-awareness and acceptance of the reason why I am where I am in my life is solely because of me. Like my decisions, my choices, my actions got me to this place. So often we want to give our power and our life away. Well, it's because of them. So what you're saying is you had no other choice. And let me pause. Disclaimer. There are absolutely some women and men who I know are true victims and had no other choice. No choice to be raped. No choice to be, we have the child sex trafficking is so crazy. I know a woman who was sex trafficked before. I'm not talking about those scenarios. I want you to hear me loud and clear, because I will never speak on scenarios that I know nothing about. What I'm talking about is scenarios that I have been through. So I have been through being touched as a teenager by a grown man. That I was absolutely a victim, had no choice in that. So I understand that. What I'm talking about is the places where we have choices, the relationships we decide to get into as adults, all right? Anything that happened to us when we were children, I have no control over. Any adult man and or woman, because men get raped too, that were raped, no, absolutely not. This is I will never, ever. That's truly someone who has been victimized. And I won't call them a victim. I'll say they've been victimized, because if you've lived past that, you're absolutely a survivor. Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that, because sometimes we get on the internet and we say things and we're talking to a particular demographic of people and they think we're talking about all people, and that's why it's so important to give these disclaimers. Never in a million years. Okay, so again, back to the things that I've done. I'm talking about being in relationships. I'm even talking about, the healing journey with my children. I did a post on my social media, and for those of you who are not following me, you can absolutely follow me at Life Coaching with Sass. That's on Instagram and Facebook. I did a post talking about my oldest son, where I was a teen mom. I had no idea what it was to be a mother. I was a teen mom. I was growing into myself, my toxic, crazy self when I was younger. And I can say that about myself because that's exactly what I was. And so I had to, apologize to my son. But again, I told y'all the best apology is change behavior, but I also had to change my approach and how I talk to him. He's now a 30-year-old grown man doing his thing, y'all. Like, I'm so proud of my kids. They're not perfect by any means. It's just ironic. And none of them are doing what I want them to do. Let me say that too. I'm an honest mom in these streets. None of them. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I had all these dreams for what I wanted them to do and be, and none of them are doing it. The interesting part is all of them are managers down to the 18-year-old in where they work. It's so crazy, right? Like, they're doing their thing. It's just not the thing that I want them to do. Okay. I'm be honest. Okay. But even with the younger ones, I had to change my behavior. And I'm not saying I'm not one of those parents that believe kids can run your house and all that, so let's not get crazy in here, okay? And there was lots of things about me that I needed to get healed on and I needed to work through. And with that, I know I caused them some pain. So the best apology is change behavior. And I offer all my kids therapy. I'm going to tell you right now, parents, none of them come with a handbook. None of us are going to get it right. I just pray that you earn enough money that you can help put them through therapy, because even the parents that think they did the best in the world, they shielded them. Now, I just saw a post the other day, I know I'm getting off gear, but I just want to tell you this, for instance. I saw a post the other day, a girl posted, a woman, she's not a young girl, she's a woman, posted about, she was like, let's talk about the mothers the single moms who, decided that they didn't want, their kids to see the men they were dating coming in and out the house, so they shielded them from that. And she talked about how, she was having problems forming relationships because she never seen, her mom. And I just thought to myself, we can't win from losing in these streets, y'all. I was that mom. I was not going to parade men in and out around my kids. I wasn't doing it. My daughters wasn't going to see that. And I had to, in order for you to be around my kids, I really had to trust you. I was touched by my aunt's husband. So when we talk about shielding my kids, I'm not just talking about like outside the family. I'm talking inside too. Real talk. They wasn't spending the night at a lot of people's houses and stuff like that. No, ma'am. So, but it was just like, man, even the mom who's trying to do the best she can, by not parading men in and out of her children's lives, so they don't think that it's okay for them to be bouncing up and down. Even my son, right, to be thinking it's okay to have women all up and down. It's still a problem. This is why I'm telling y'all. You don't have to do the best you can to heal yourself and just offer to pay for therapy. Because no matter which way you go, it's going to be your fault. It is. I said what I said. And I know I'm smiling about it, but it's just real. Because the truth of the matter is, we're never going to be able to get this thing 1,000% right because we were never meant to. There is no perfect being on this world. So there you have it. All right, so let's get back to this. So we're talking about the healing journey. So number 1 was self-awareness and acceptance. Number 2, seeking support, getting you a therapist, counselor, coach, and or support group. Number 3, I need you to practice self-care. So what does self-care look like? It can look like a couple of things. Number 1, the most important thing I think is to move, to move your body. If you start walking, Pilates, yoga, because a lot of us who are experiencing trauma, it's all locked into our bodies. You got to start moving your body and allowing that stuff to get out of you, right? Another thing is to quality sleep and eating healthy, nutritious meals. Y'all, the worst thing you can do for yourself when you're going through a healing journey is to eat junk food. It makes you feel 10 times worse. And I'm an emotional eater that can say that. Yep, I write about it in the book, The Emotional Eater. But you're going to have to train yourself to do it a different way, to eat fruits and vegetables, not so much of those comfort carbs, y'all. I know, I get it, the whole thing of ice cream. Damn. I'm laughing at this, but it's just true. You know, the emotional eating is really, really real. And when you're going through a healing journey, it's better for you, even if you eat. So I had to change the type of emotional eater I was. So right now, I just went to Costco yesterday. My refrigerator is full of berries, blackberries, strawberries, and I actually got some cherries yesterday too. All seeded fruits. Oh, I'm sorry, seeded cherries, because they have seedless everything. I don't know about that seedless stuff, but anyway. Um, so if I'm emotional eating, I'm grabbing that stuff now, as opposed to going. Yeah, I haven't had McDonald's in a long time. I'm healed. So it's opposed to going to McDonald's and all eating all those fried greasy foods. I understand it, but we have to change the way we do it. Okay. But you'll be surprised when you start eating healthy and drinking water as opposed to soda. I'm telling you, drink more water than juice. The clarity that comes to your mind, you're able to think a little bit clearer especially when you're moving your body. And this is why I said go walking, because people are like, oh, I can't afford to go to the gym. You don't have to. There's this girl on YouTube called Go Grow with Joe or Flow with Joe. I mean, there's so many free things now. But just getting out in nature and walking and clearing your mind, especially if you are a mom, a single mom, or a single dad, get out and start walking. Just walk. Just walk and clear your mind. It's going to change your life. I'm telling you. Walking and changing the way you eat, taking care. So self-care, we're talking about also getting quality sleep. I know it may be hard. Listen, you have to go to the doctor, maybe get you a little melatonin gummy, but sleep, getting quality sleep. Meditation is also really, really a great self-care practice. You know what? There's nothing wrong with getting up and going to get your hair done, or painting your nails, even if you can't afford to go get your nails done, paint them yourself. Just spend that time with yourself, loving on you, taking a candlelight bath. The other thing that I think is a great self-care, for those of you, because I'm very hard. I don't cry a lot, but there's nothing wrong with, feeling your emotions and crying and journaling out. That's a form of self-care. It really is, spending that time, letting that emotion out. Because I know as parents, sometimes we can't do it. We're so busy trying to be strong for everybody and everything. We're missing out on feeling our emotions. So we become emotionally unavailable. We become numb to things. And that is not a great place to live, nor is it a great place to raise humans. Nor is it a great place to be in relationship with another person, friends or significant other and or partner. Okay? So if you need to have a good cry, do that. All right? Another thing of practice self-care, go out and have some fun. I know sometimes it's hard, but a laugh a day keeps the doctor away. When can you go for a swim? Just go have fun with your friends and go out with your friends and don't talk about everything that you're going through. Just spending some time outside of that, reading a good book. I know one. Finding your way, 7 ways to love and heal yourself. Journal. There's so many ways to practice. Self-care. Get into yourself. Love on yourself. When you get out of the shower, take the time. Like I take my time and I lotion my body from head to toe and I speak affirmations over myself. I remember there was a time where I saw this video and a guy did this for a woman and he spoke affirmations all over her body and she felt like, oh my God, I can't believe this man is doing that. And I said, I think that's beautiful, and do it for yourself. Affirm yourself from head to toe. I can do all things. I am strong. I'm worthy of love. I'm a healer. I am healed. I am whole. I am grateful. I love being me. Speak it over yourself. I'm at the right place at the right time and will only surround myself with the right people. I am positive, love, and healing as you're loosening yourself down. Love all over you. Accept yourself as you are. Okay, so that was number 3, practice self-care. Number 4, as you're working through the self-awareness, acceptance, and getting help, right? I want you to start to identify what are some triggers and or patterns that you have? All right, that's so important. When I was working through, therapy, I had to identify, my trigger, and it really helped me understand why I was functioning the way I was, even with my children, right? I didn't even realize until therapy that the reason why I was operating the way I was is because I was touched as a teenager, by someone who presented themselves in such a way as a grown man, like they loved me and then they cared about me. Come to find out, it really had nothing to do with that. They was just trying to get what they wanted from a 13-year-old kid. So I had to start recognizing that, right? And start recognizing my unhealthy coping mechanisms. I didn't know I was an emotional eater until I started to dig in. When it was the times that I started to eat a lot. And then I was like, man, what am I feeling to those moments? 9 times out of 10, I was feeling sad because I wasn't a crier. So I wouldn't cry. I would go eat. I wouldn't cry. I would go yell and scream. I wouldn't cry. I would cuss somebody out. I had to look at that. Right? So start to identify, when do you feel triggered? What are the conversations? And it's not so we can run away from the trigger. It's so that we can recognize it and trace back to when it began so we can heal it. Okay? So then before, identify triggers in patterns. And last but certainly not least, set realistic goals and practice patience with yourself. Because healing, it's like an onion. We talk about those layers. It's not cliche. It's true. It's one layer at a time. And there's going to be times when you're going to think you're healed and you're going to get in a situation or get around some people and you're going to feel triggered again. And you're going to say, oh my God, I thought I was through with that. And when that happens, notice I said when, not if, because it's going to happen. When that happens, is not to beat yourself up and be like, man, I thought I was through that. I thought I was over it. No, it's to say, okay, there's still some more to unpack. Maybe it's time for me to go back to therapy. And that happened with me. I thought I was, through certain parts of my healing journey, I got into a relationship and I was triggered. I'm like, wait, oh my God, I thought I was through that. I wasn't. I wasn't through it. I wasn't through the sexual trauma. So when men would talk to me and they would present themselves in a very sexual way, I was instantly turned off. Instantly. Because I realized, for me at 13, being touched by a grown man, I thought, well, they only want to be around me for sex. They only want me for my body, right? It would become instant. Anytime it was something flirtatious, I was instantly turned off, instantly. When men talk to me, it was like, ugh, that's all you got to offer? That's it? I didn't even get past it to know if it was more. It just was like, ugh, instant turn off. But that trigger had something to do with it. Now, I'm not saying, listen, we know how we talk. I'm not saying if you first meet a dude and all you talk about is sex is to stay and nah, bro. If that's, I just have to say it. In our 40s and 50s, if that's all you talking about, please get out please get out my face and miss me with that. Most of us, like me, I've been having sex since I was a teen. I was 15, I think. Maybe 14, because I was just traumatic, okay? I had some trauma after being touched. Sex long enough that if that's all you working with, really? This is really, and I say this because I look at the internet, grown men, and I'm not saying it's not important in marriage. Please do not get that twisted. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's a lovely thing. But just to throw it all around with everybody, anywhere, with any kind of person, listen, I'm not the one to be mixing up soul ties and spirits all up in me, okay? Whatever you choose to do for you is you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to put you down. I'm just going to tell you that ain't for me. That part. And I said, ain't. With my chest, all right? So anyway, I digress. But just remember that you have to give yourself grace and patience through this process. And if you are in relation, or if you are going through a healing journey, even with your children or your family, they're gonna have to give you some grace too, and you're gonna have to ask for it. Especially if you're a person never asked for it before. Yeah, you got to have grace, because it takes us time. It took me 40 years to discover all my stuff. You know what I mean? So it's gonna take some time. It is. For you to know, that this journey And I'm saying, I'm sorry, I should have started saying, I want you to know that this journey may take time, but throughout it all, don't look at it like, oh, something's wrong with me. I'm a bad person. No, you're a person who has experienced trauma, who now is taking the reins of their lives. And you're saying, you know what, I'm the CEO of my life. I can be, do, or have anything that I want. You know what, I'm going to take it on. I'll say it's my fault. I told my best friend this. I said, because, I'm gonna just say she was going through some things, and the guy was blaming her for everything, and she was all up in her arms, like, I can't believe it, like he's blaming his cheating on me. And I was like, listen, own it, cause this is a trick to it. I ain't say own it to him. I say, shoot, okay, cool, I'll take that. I own it. It was all me. Because if I can take that and say it's all me, guess what I can do? Change it. 1000%. I ain't never got to deal with you no more. It's all my fault. Now I'm going to go over here and get this good healing that I need and go on by my business. Because the one thing that I know for certain, and two things I know for sure, nobody forces you to cheat. Oh, how can I say that? I cheated before. I'm honest. That's a choice. Nobody make you do anything. Just like nobody's making you stay in a relationship with someone. It's all up to you. You can be, do, or have anything you desire in this world. You absolutely 150% deserve a life of joy. You deserve a life of love. You deserve a life where no one physically and mentally abuses you. You do. You deserve that. And if you're going through any of those things, it's time for you to seek out the help that you need. It's time for you to start your healing journey. And so we talked about the 5 steps. Number 1, self-awareness and acceptance. Number 2, seek support. Number 3, practice self-care. Number 4, identify your triggers and patterns. And number 5, set realistic goals and practice patience. And this is where I'm going to leave you with. If you are a person who's still blaming everybody and everything for how you are living right now, let me tell you something, you're not going to get anywhere with that. If you're still blaming your ex, if you're blaming your children, if you're blaming your mother, if you're blaming your father, if you're blaming God, if you're blaming the church, church hurt us real in these streets. If you're blaming the government, you are not going to live a life of abundance, love, and joy. I don't say happiness, it's joy. And I can explain that in a later video. Because the thing is, you own your life. You do. You can say, well, I didn't have any control over these things that happened to me when I was younger, but it's your responsibility now to heal them. You didn't have any control over the things that happened to you when you were younger. It's your responsibility to heal them now. You didn't have any control over the things that happened to you when you were younger. It's your responsibility to heal them now. It's your responsibility to heal you. It's your responsibility to love you. It's your responsibility to have values. It's your responsibility, values, standards, ethics about yourself. It's your responsibility now. Okay? And remember, I already gave the disclaimer of who this conversation is for. If you have any sort of questions or want to talk to me, info@moesass.com. You can always email me. You want to talk to me about coaching, www.moesass.com, moesass.com. Life Coaching with Sass on Facebook and Instagram. And I hope you have the most amazing Sunday. Again, Finding Your Way, 7 Ways of Love and Heal Yourself. If you want to start your healing journey with my book, please do so. If you have any questions about the book, email me. I got you. All right, y'all. Have a great Sunday.